Could helping your mitochondrial health help you fight the toxic proteins causing Alzheimer's? Well, I feel like Alzheimer's is in the news, blowing up because the rates have skyrocketed like a lot of chronic diseases. But this one hits home because I have the genetics that is telling me that my destiny is that I'm going to have Alzheimer's, but I'm not going to because of what I'm going to talk about today. Scientists still claim they don't know exactly what causes the disease, but there's a general consensus that the clumps of certain proteins, we talk about them a lot, these beta amyloid proteins and tau in the brain are key indicators. A postdoctoral research, Anderton, at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging in California, explained that the common thread in neurodegenerative diseases of aging is the buildup of these large protein clumps known as insoluble protein aggregates. In Alzheimer's, beta amyloid proteins form these aggregates called plaque. Have you heard amyloid plaques? Well, they are closely linked to areas of neural death and brain inflammation that drive this disease. He points out that these plaques contain hundreds of other proteins that have been overlooked until now. That's why he and the other researchers are deciding to study how the general accumulation of these insoluble proteins might speed up Alzheimer's. In their research, they were using a worm model and discovered that both the natural aging process and beta amyloid cause other proteins to become insoluble. Then they use a compound to improve mitochondrial health in these insoluble proteins, which delay the toxic effects of beta amyloid. Mitochondria, often called the cell's powerhouse. And you've heard me talk about mitochondria and ATP. It is the root cause of all disease and unexplained weight gain and thyroid health and mental issues and physical issues. It's all about our mitochondria. They have become a key focus in Alzheimer's research. Scientists are investigating whether repairing aging mitochondria can help maintain brain health. Imagine if you had a key that got bent and no longer fit into its lock. That's similar to what happens with these proteins. They lose their shape. These misshapen proteins start sticking together and form insoluble protein aggregates. Proteins can lose their shape due to factors like stress, aging, the spike protein, which we've talked about, or cellular damage. Our cells have evolved a way to either refold these proteins into the correct shape or degrade them, and they're called misfolded proteins. And I've talked a lot about these amyloid proteins. In conditions like Alzheimer, the brain doesn't correctly dispose of these proteins, and the brain accumulates these protein aggregates. So if we boost our mitochondrial health, can we stop Alzheimer's? That's the question they want to research. Since many mitochondrial proteins become insoluble during the natural aging process and under the influence of the beta amyloid, they thought if they improve these, then maybe it will help with the disease. Mitochondria contain a specialized energy production or producing complex of proteins called the electron transport chain. We've talked about this, where things like processed foods disrupt the electron transport chain. So that is the primary way our cells use food to produce energy. They found that the proteins of the electron transport chain become insoluble when exposed to the beta amyloids. And so we know that if mitochondria can be negatively impacted by the amyloids, then the protein becomes insoluble, right? So the cells have a way of recycling damaged mitochondria through a process called mitophagy. That is essentially autophagy of the mitochondria. We know the benefits of autophagy. We talk about it when you're in ketosis or when you're fasting. Your body's going through like Pac-Man and cleaning up all the damaged cells, eating it all up and saying, we don't need that anymore, let's get rid of it. That is what's going on in the mitochondria with mitophagy. So how do we boost our mitochondria and maybe prevent this Alzheimer's? I want to know because I have the double gene for Alzheimer's. We've been talking about the fact that Alzheimer's is also referred to as type 3 diabetes and linked to insulin resistance. This means that it's somewhat in our control and can be caused by or prevented by lifestyle choices. This is great news. We've also talked about how Alzheimer's risk can be increased, but due to the genetics that you have, if you have the 2 copies of the ApoE4 gene like I do. This is another study, though, that gives you hope that you are in control, whether it's weight loss, reversing heart disease, fatty liver, or just your wrinkles or hair loss. It comes down to ATP and mitochondrial health. This needs to be your focus. And insulin resistance lowers ATP, which is your true cellular energy, and lowers your mitochondrial health. This is why you need to address your diet. Take your supplements, exercise, sleep, manage the stress, all these things, not just one. And it's not just one magic pill. All these things can either degrade or enhance your mitochondria. Remember, insulin resistance in the brain leads to Alzheimer's. Insulin resistance in the liver leads to diabetes. Insulin resistance in the ovaries leads to PCOS. Insulin resistance at the heart leads to heart disease. I'm sure if you are on your way to Alzheimer's, you probably already have diabetes and possibly heart disease. They usually go hand in hand. Insulin resistance lowers ATP and mitochondrial health. That's why I'm talking about all of this together. So, what do you do about it? Well, the supplements to enhance mitochondrial health and Alzheimer's. Number 1, accelerated cognoblast. This is why we created it, not just for that short term, I need focus. I need to get that project done. I need to increase my ATP. I need to increase my mood. It helps with mood, focus, ATP production, reduces anxiety, heightens your motivation. And long-term, it decreases the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. And I want to mention again that I have those 2 genes. I'm 48 years old. Those 2 genes means that I will experience an earlier onset of Alzheimer's than the typical Alzheimer's patient. So maybe there should be some degradation in my brain, but because of what I do, which I do everything we're talking about right now, my brain scan was beautiful. And it is on fire. I feel better in my brain, mood, focus, motivation, all of it better than during my days at Stanford University as an 18 to 22-year-old. So there is hope. Accelerated cognoblast also helps with neutralizing the free radicals, reducing that inflammation that's associated with Alzheimer's, helps with your other organs like the kidneys, lungs, and liver, helps improve circulation. You need circulation to the brain for it to work. It lowers stress levels. And remember, the stress isn't going to go away. It's how you take it in and how you perceive it. And it helps with energy. It increases that ATP. We enhance the cognoblast with scalar frequencies to boost that brain health, enhance memory, detoxify the toxins that can contribute to insulin resistance in the brain and Alzheimer's or dementia. And it helps decalcify the pineal, pituitary, and hypothalamus and balance the hemispheres of the brain. The second supplement, of course, is the accelerated iodine. Iodine deficiency is the #1 cause of mitochondrial failure. Hello, that is what is driving ATP to go down. So we need the iodine more than anything. It significantly increases ATP by 18 times. It boosts cellular energy. It helps with the mitochondrial health, increases metabolism, thyroid health, fat burning, calorie burning, brain function, physical performance, and that healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction and elimination of disease cells. And it helps with mitophagy and autophagy. It also detoxifies the brain from the toxins like fluoride, which is causing your brain fog and depression, helps with clear thinking, connecting to your higher self, preventing brain deterioration. Of course, it's supporting your thyroid and your overall metabolism, helping you tackle your mental tasks on a daily basis. And research links poor thyroid health to higher rates of depression and mental illness. It also, of course, devitalizes fungus, parasites, viruses, and bacteria. So those things can lower your immune system and lower your brain health as well. Now, accelerated iodine is like no other supplement or iodine supplement. It is the only monoatomic iodine, which achieves 100% absorption. That means there's one molecule of iodine that is going into the body and searching for those receptor sites to link onto, whereas most iodine supplements are attached to another molecule like potassium, and the body in its weakened low energy state has to break them apart to use them. And that's why most supplements, iodine supplements, only have 10 to 20% absorption. It's also enhanced with scalar frequencies to help detoxify the brain from radiation, heavy metals, fluoride, bromide, chlorine, all which can impair the brain function. Accelerated methylene blue. Methylene blue is gaining tons of attention for many benefits, right? It's antioxidant, but it's also showing neuroprotective effects. It is being studied and studied and studied for treating neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and it's effective in that electron carrier. So it helps the brain by stimulating oxygen use and reducing anaerobic glycolysis in toxic situations. It acts as an electron carrier to reduce reactive oxygen species, protecting cells from challenging things. It also helps maintain mitochondrial membrane potential and helps against neurotoxicity. And it has been shown to help with diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and stroke. And it's doing so, unlike antipsychotic drugs, it's doing so in a mitochondria-specific antioxidant, which is so amazing. It's helping with brain damage prevention, enhancing that mitochondrial function, increasing the ATP and preventing ATP decline, enhancing short-term memory and cognitive effects. I take it every morning and I feel my brain turn on. It also has antidepressant properties. It increases nitric oxide, which is helping that circulation to the brain. Now, accelerated methylene blue, of course, is the best out there because we use John Ellis distilled water, which on its own effectively eliminates toxins by neutralizing pathogens. Just the water without the methylene blue. And then you add into it the grander water system, which essentially puts life force back into the water, counteracts any negative effects of unhealthy electromagnetic fields that might have been exposed to the water. No other company does this. Now, I talked about insulin resistance and type 3 diabetes being Alzheimer's, right? You can use accelerated keto. It's not a keto supplement. It helps you intermittent fast, lower that insulin resistance, and not crave those sugar and carbs, and helps cleanse the liver on a daily basis to get those toxins out that are filling up your fat cells and making your fat cells resistant to that insulin. So you don't just get insulin resistance from sugar. Of course, the sugar and the processed foods make it worse, but you're getting it from radiation and toxins. There's overstuffing the fat cells, causing the cells to say, nope, I'm not going to take any glucose when that insulin's knocking at the door. Well, the accelerated keto is cleansing the liver on a daily basis. Of course, you should be doing your liver flush every couple of months, but this does it on a daily basis, and it is crucial for increasing ATP by 5 to 10 times. It is giving your brain a boost. As soon as I started taking accelerated keto, I'm like, I'm doing this for the mental effects, right? You put that together with the methylene blue, the accelerated iodine, and the accelerated cognoblast, and your brain is on fire. I feel like I can do 4 times the work than I used to do. So it is really amazing for that insulin resistance and the brain power and the mitochondrial health. Now, what else do you need to do? Just take supplements? No, you got to change your lifestyle. Stop eating the sugar, carbs, and processed food. If it comes in a package, it's processed. The vegetable oils, the processed foods, just by cutting those out, you will feel an amazing shift. These foods cause gut inflammation, mess with your nutrient absorption, and spike your blood sugar levels. They're going to inflame your brain, and that's going to cause brain fog short term, but then these degenerative diseases long term. Focus on eating that wild animal protein. Why? Because the chicken, the conventional beef, the turkey, the pork, they have amyloid proteins in them. So those amyloid proteins are, yes, causing gut issues, but causing deposits in your brain and accelerating cognitive decline and these degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. You gotta stop eating them. Focus on bison, lamb, deer, elk, wild fish, organic eggs. They're packed with the essential nutrients. They don't have these amyloids. And the spike protein is also creating amyloids in our body without eating a morsel of anything. So we have to minimize the amyloids we're taking in even more now than we did 4 years ago. Sleep, you gotta sleep. No one gets away with 5 hours of sleep. You got to get 7 to 8 hours of a night. That is vital for autophagy and mitophagy. It is vital for your ATP and your recovery. Sleep reduces inflammation, helps the brain recover. There's like this glymphatic process in your brain, just like your lymphatic in your body, that cleanses your brain at night and during sleep. And you got to exercise. Get that ATP up. That increases autophagy. That helps with circulation. It helps with brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which can help with depression, spark creativity, help the brain. It's really, really important to be moving your body. So super helpful. I think I am super excited about all of this research because it means that I have control over my brain regardless of my genetics. Thanks for tuning in. If you need my help, you can reach out to me at SaraBanta.com. Happy to put together a protocol for you, and join my free group coaching on Telegram. There is no downside. I share daily tips and tools to improve your health and answer your questions. You will be surrounded by amazing people who are on a similar path. There's more information on my website. And of course, don't forget to follow me on social media at Accelerated Health Products. You can catch this podcast on over 100 platforms, including Spotify, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Just search Accelerated Health TV and radio show. I'm on a mission to share my healing message with everyone who is ready to listen. Help me with this goal by sharing this podcast. Maybe your friends got my genetics and they need to know that there's hope. Remember, I'm live every Monday and Tuesday and a bonus one on Thursday. So make sure you also visit the website. Use coupon WELCOME10 to get 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great week.